Let's go ahead and bring in Steiner Sports CEO, Brandon Steiner.
One of the country's top memorabilia mogul.
I have an unbelievable guest, Brandon Steiner.
Brandon's second to none.
I cannot guarantee how long this is going because I've been already talking to him for 2 hours and I feel like we just got started. We're definitely brothers from another mother. I could talk sales all day. If you're thinking about selling, you're interested in selling, you have a business, you want to sell, learn how to sell more, you're in the right place. Stay right where you are. If you don't really give a shit about selling, click this off. This conversation is not for you. And good luck with whatever's going on with the rest of your day because we're going to get into some productive, really vibrant ways to go light things up and get you on the scoreboard today selling. Steve Nudelberg, great to see you, my friend.
Thank you, my brother.
And by the way, not that we need this because the book sells well without you. If you don't want to buy it, so be it. But you may want to pick this book up if you're interested in selling it just a little bit more. This book has the simplicity perfect for me. That's why I love this book. Simple, broken down, not complicated. This is like layups. You read some of these books and go, wow, this is a great book. I have no idea what the hell they were talking about, how to put it in play. This is like you can really put this stuff in play. That's what I love about your style is that everything we're going to talk about, you could put in play. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon. The simplicity of the way you operate, Steve,
thank you,
is what attracts me to you, and I like, and that's where I'm glad you're able to come in. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, we are coming off a 2-day trip here in New York, and obviously when you're in New York, you gotta come see the Grand Poobah.
Oh, thank you.
You know, it's exciting to be here. It's exciting traveling around the country and talking about sales because even in the dialogue we had, nobody's really selling anything anymore. You got to be a solution provider. You got to, bring value. And
Yes.
so, my style is I meet a lot of people. I listen to a lot of stuff. If I can deliver value, great, we do business. If not, so, the fact that the book is well received makes me feel good because people can take it, do it, put it in action, and then, come back to me with stuff and say, wow, man, that really worked that instant. So I think just like great teams, they execute on the field. That's what, great professionals execute. And that's why I love listening to your stuff because it's very actionable. When you do this, first of all, I love the studio, man.
Thank
It's
you.
really so
I love
cool.
the studio.
You're like a little kid.
This is my favorite thing I built. I'm like, stop thinking about it and start doing about it. Like, forget the think tank. There's a do tank here. We
It's
get in here, we
fantastic.
talk about it, we do it. This has been a classroom for me, to be honest with you. I just can't believe how much I've learned. I'm grateful that people come in, share the story, and I hope that people watching feel the same way. Like, that's what it's about.
Well, there's a real business going on here.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
we really are.
incredible.
We are really getting our ass kicked, and we are kicking
Yeah,
some
we're
ass.
transacting here.
There's all that stuff going on
So
here.
then
Believe
you come
me.
into this little playroom,
Yeah.
and it's great because I do feel like the energy is great, and stuff like
It's
that.
the way we meant it to be. Why sales? How does sales come about? Has that always been? Were you a little kid hustling lemonade, or?
Well, you know what? I was really more of the people guy. I liked the people. So everything I did as a kid, I like to meet new people. I like to listen and find out who they were, what they were. And so that always brought me to a place where I had a lot of opportunity. The more people you know, the more at-bats you get, speaking sports.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's always been that mentality of, why wouldn't I want to meet as many people as I can, have as many people meet me, know me, have the chance to like me or not like me, and therefore be top of mind with them when opportunity does knock. So in every business I've ever been in, I would teach the folks that worked with me, I don't want you to sell anything. I want to be there when there's opportunity. I want to be one of the choices. And that's a very different mentality from people who want to, just transact. We were just dealing with a new prospect. We had lunch with the CEO, and he said, listen, I have somebody who's really, really good, but they're very transactional. They hit somebody over the head one time, it's a design firm, and then they don't come back, so she doesn't get the referrals. And so when I was talking to him, I said, the scary part is, you know what you're getting. You have no idea what you're losing. And that is a big shift for decision makers
Wow.
to get their arms around and say, you might have somebody that's producing numbers, but it's very significant to understand the layers and layers of people who are not coming to them. And that chain is what, gets me excited, is that the more people I know, the more people know me, like me, trust me, talk about me. And social media obviously has made that game significantly better. And so I just create opportunity. And
Customer acquisition and relationship acquisition, huge, incredibly expensive. It's not what you're getting when you make a sale sometimes, but also you got to be careful what you may be losing by not getting the aftermath of that sale. I don't think a lot of salespeople or managers think about it that way.
So I will tell you that some of the best referral sources I have are people I've never sold to. They just said, look, that's not right for me. And one of the words I talk about in the book is fit. I'm not a fit for everybody. That's okay. I'm good going into it, that I don't need to hit a home run every time I get up to the plate. And I love the baseball analogies with you.
We can't help it.
Yeah,
We're sports people.
So if I know that I could hit 3 out of every 10 times, baseball players.
It's a Hall of Famer.
That's a Hall of Fame guy. So I understand it's a numbers game. I understand I want to meet as many people as I can. And I'm not trying to sell everybody. And being able to say no, we've had this dialogue with lots of organizations. Being able to say no to people puts you in a place where the people who are supposed to say yes do.
And it gives you a bigger opportunity for more yeses to come.
Yeah.
Because when you say no to one person, or if you say yes to one person, you're saying no to someone else.
Right.
And people don't realize that. By being too nice a guy or trying to please everyone, you're really displeasing a whole bunch of other people.
So in your last podcast, you talked about the shot clock, which I told you.
Yeah, there is no shot
went
clock.
Crazy.
In sales.
Actually replayed it a zillion times, typed it up, sent it to my boys, which I absolutely adore. So I just think one of the things that professionals do, especially in sports, manage the clock real well. So if we're talking about clock, salespeople need to manage the clock, and they get sucked into doing things that are time vampires. They take you away from a term that we created called revenue producing opportunities. So people are used to RPMs to drive a car real fast. Well, if you want to go accelerate your sales business, focus on revenue producing opportunities. And from every great salesperson, great leader that I've been fortunate to work with, it's all about 60 or 70% of your time. If you're focusing on creating revenue, the other stuff falls away. So, time management is key, managing the shot clock all the time. Don't get distracted with stuff that doesn't make a difference.
We're taking some questions. If you have anything, just email in. We're going to get your questions in a few minutes. So, it's a participation conversation. So jump in, and Ben's going to grab you. If you want to grab on the phone, we may be able to take your call.
Big Ben.
We'll definitely rifle through some of your questions. You have a sales question or something you're stuck with, love to help you through it. You had an aha moment. What kills me always with women, by the way, is, particularly with my wife, is that I cannot believe the consistency of her being right 99% of the time. That's the part that I don't get. It kills me. Like, how did she? I mean, why?
Scary.
How?
It's totally scary.
But you had an aha moment. Like, you were running your own business. How do you all of a sudden transform out of running your own business to all of a sudden getting out of that, putting a book together, doing sales consulting?
So it's so funny the things that get presented to you and how you look at things. I would have never considered myself somebody who would have the patience to train or the patience to write a book. But somebody I know that is very dear to me asked me to get up in front of his sales staff. He said, listen, I've had the same kind of trainers come through here. I think you're different. You're an actionable guy. You're one of the best salespeople I've ever met. So I'd like your style to be in front of my people. Did it. They had huge results in 90 days because I gave them a roadmap that has nothing to do with the product or the price or the service. It has everything to do with what are we doing on the field.
Because it's never about that.
Never,
that part,
never.
If you don't know what you're doing after a period of time, you probably need to get fired. But the mental mindset and the culture and the attitude, that is always can get adjusted.
Always can get adjusted. So somebody asked me to do it. That got rave reviews from the people who were in the room, just like in this viral world we live in.
Yes.
Somebody else asked. And I did not realize how much I really enjoyed the opportunity to change lives on a broader scale. Both of my boys are coaches, as you know, the people who follow me, they're both college football coaches. So for me, that what I did for my boys, I'm now being able to do for, young and old, parents, grandparents, everybody should be coached in some respect. I have a coach. I believe that I want another pair of eyes on me, makes me accountable, all of those things that great athletes do all the time. So, here I found myself in this space. I love getting up in front of people. I've managed to build a career based on one word. People generally buy me and my brand for energy. I inject energy into the room.
Was it tough to make the transition, though? I mean, here you are running a company. I mean, who gives you the idea to do that?
So, you know what? We're living in a world where, and one of the things we teach salespeople is about personal branding, that you have a brand,
yes,
whether you like it or not. And if you're not defining it, someone else is. So my brand was already predetermined. People were attracted to my brand. They were willing to purchase it. The market dictated, hey, I want to have this guy part of my company in, whether speaking or training or helping us develop new business channels. So the market dictated it before I said I want to do it.
Hard to make that transition. You left a company that you had employees, and all of a sudden,
it was not as hard.
No?
As I thought it might be.
Okay.
And everybody has this epiphany sometime in their life where they pay attention to things they've done. One of the things I write about in the book, my really good friend Michael Ralby said to me one day, he goes, what happens if you climb the corporate ladder and it's leaning against the wrong building? And I was like, oh my God. And so what I thought success was for many, many years is now a different kind of success. I get to travel, I get to interact with great people like you, where in my current, my older business, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And so we are now friends. We'll probably do business together. We are like-minded. So that's what my days are like. The last 2 days were around people who inspire me, drive me, give me new ideas. And so that's a really cool place to be at this stage of my life. So the rewards are different, is the way I would say.
You talked about, the coaches, and just we were talking with Joe Sweeney yesterday. I don't know if you caught that, but he talked about life is almost a game, and you need to make adjustments. You need to be able to coach yourself. And he's like, halftime, make the adjustments. You turn 40, you're at halftime. Are you giving a look at where you've been? Are you watching the video? Are you taking a look at where you've been? And can you coach yourself or bring some other people in to help you reset for the next phase of your life? And I love that analogy because it's so, so true. This book, though, what's the one thing, like if I pick up this book, I mean, listen, you got to bring this guy into your company and help you because he's going to light up the lamp. I mean, right? I mean, if you want to just grow your sales, you bring somebody like you in and that's what happens. Your company will grow. There's no question.
We've been very fortunate.
You see the testimonials. And what I love about you is the focus. It's not like you're coming in, you're not going to be chitty-chatting about your favorite color. I mean, it's about, hey, look, you want to go light the lamp up, you want to go drive sales, you bring Steve in. What's the takeaway if somebody is out there taking a look and wants to read this book?
So just like, the blocking and tackling, I think in life, if you have a process to live by, you see all these great coaches that have a process. Nick Saban has a process at Alabama that when you get to Alabama, he goes, this is the way we do stuff.
Like people think that like Nick Saban's a winner. His process is a winning process.
Correct. And he's developed it, and he doesn't
the result
change
of that
it
wins.
for new people coming in. They get to Alabama and they go, something's different here.
Yeah.
The way we walk, the way we talk, the
Yankees,
way we show
same
up.
thing. Being a Yankee, the way what it takes to be a Yankee.
So what I found is successful people, whether they recognized it or not, have a process. And what I did was in reflection, looked at what's the process I created for myself. Listen, sales is the number one place to get rejection. You're going to get kicked in the teeth. We signed up for that. The ones who are the best, the top 5%, are the ones who just said, I'll get kicked in the teeth more than anybody else.
Because with higher success, you have higher failure.
Correct.
And so you got to be prepared. If you plan on making a shitload of money, be prepared for a bunch of foots right up your butt.
There is nobody that has been successful that can't tell you, wow, I got my ass kicked a couple of times, but it was how I got up and how I reflected or how I made the adjustments. And so for me, the book is just the life process I put together for myself.
Simple steps.
I think, one of the first things, the first rule of the book is wake up early. I think if you don't wake up early, you're behind the 8 ball before you get started. Successful people are getting up early and conquering the day. If you don't eat right, if you don't put good stuff in your system,
But most people don't really connect the eating, the health, the sleep with what's that got to do with my personal time with what I do in the office? That's what one of my staff would say to me. Why are you worrying about what I do on my personal time? And worry about what I'm doing when I'm here. I'm like, and I want to know where you were last night, because it's outside the locker room, outside the court affects you inside the court. You believe that?
Life habits, absolutely. So if you don't get to bed early, right, you're not going to be the sharpest person you can be. So it's how you eat and what you drink. Just like a Ferrari, if you put sand in the tank, it's not going to drive. So we are machines, we are products, and this is a great one.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go into sales staffs and it's Tuesday, and I can hear Tuesday morning people are fired up because it's Taco Tuesday, and I'm like going, I want you to do me a favor, and when you eat those tacos, tell me what happens when you get back to the office or you get back in your car. So if you pay attention to the
By the way, we don't allow pizza,
right,
subs,
gluten,
wedges. They sneak it in once in a while. I'm like, I throw it out. I don't allow it here. And that you can discriminate against bad eating. I can't discriminate against sex.
Isn't that
I
crazy?
can't I can discriminate against unhealthiness.
and
I
you
do.
are helping people.
I am
It's
a
like
discriminator against unhealthiness. I don't allow unhealthiness in my office. And people think I'm crazy when I start throwing out, pies and pizza and cakes. But hey, I think it makes a more productive office.
Can you imagine that there are still salespeople that smoke? Like seriously, like you're trying to make an impression on somebody.
I don't
and
even
the
know
first
if I
thing
want to
they do-
smoke or not. I just don't know if I want to spend $10 on a pack of cigarettes. So if you're smoking, you're in my office. Not only are you stupid, but you're doubly stupid for spending that kind of money. That sounds like a $100 a week habit.
Imagine that you showed up and the first thing that impression is they're smelling you, man. Oh, you smell like smoke, or in an elevator. It's like,
God.
I pay attention to details. It's what, successful sales professionals do. They understand it's a craft. Many sales people, which we probably should change the name, because I don't believe that you can sell anything to anybody that they don't want to really buy. So I just think that's where I don't waste my energy. But a lot of people show up and throw up. They can go out at night, right? Show up in the morning and think they can turn the lights on. And you know what? It's not. If it's really a profession, you got to practice. You got to take care of your body. So the mindset is very the same for all professionals, how you treat yourself. Now look, there's 60,000 negative thoughts that go through your brain every day, right?
Well, 60,000 thoughts. They don't necessarily have to all be negative.
But there are a lot
60,000
of negative
thoughts.
Right.
But you are controlling what you think, and it has a
Correct.
big impact on what you do.
So the reality is we talk worse to ourselves than we would ever allow anybody to talk to us.
But Steve, you start your day. First call, rejection. Or, I noticed with a lot of basketball players, first couple shots or misses,
You're
oh,
off.
God help me. You know what I mean? Oh, no, what's wrong with me today? How do you overcome that? I know a lot of people that are watching. How do you get that person you're trying to get on the phone?
So we one of the things we talk about is a philosophy that we created called 3D PR. So people understand PR, it's creating a story or whatever. And what I think where sales professionals get lost is they think they're marketing their company to the other company. So if I was trying to market to Steiner, right, on the ball marketing to Steiner, it's two, beings, but there's no personality there. Well, if I decided to market to you, it's not about me, it's about you. So where a lot of companies spend money on, tchotchkes and things with their name on it, I would spend more time finding out something that's really cool about you. For instance, we had a client in Cleveland. They were trying to get to a CEO. We found the CEO was really interested in James Bond. Found it all over social media. It was an obvious thing for us. So we went on Amazon. We bought a martini shaker. We had a handwritten note, threw it in there, and said, we just want to shake things up. Boom. Instant access to, wow, somebody took the time to not just sit there and smile and dial me all day or send emails. Look at these sales sheets from people and they go, I've been pounding on this guy for 6 months and he won't return my call or he won't return my email. Well, I said, listen, at what point are you going to realize that strategy's not working? Try something new. You talk about a game of adjustments. Market to the person. Find out what school they went to.
It's not who they know, what they know, but what they know about who.
Yeah.
A quick little
look at
story.
you. There's
Well,
another
that's
one.
my biggie,
There's
but
another one.
it's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's what you know about who. But what I do is I'll
Wow.
call up somebody that I can't get a hold of, right? and I try to find out their favorite sport, the sport that they love. If she's a runner or she's a trainer or she loves to play tennis, and I find out her shoe size. I go to the store and I buy the nicest pair of sneakers in that particular sport, usually about $100. Not the worst thing to get a meeting, right? And I send the left sneaker.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I said, I want to get off on the right foot with you. I'm going to be in your area sometime in the next week. Would you allow me to come in? And every time, like, wow. Plus, that she loves tennis or he loved basketball.
She wants the other shoe, too.
And it just hits home. Who doesn't want a brand new pair of sneakers? I mean, and especially the good ones, the right ones.
It's so funny. I mean, we that was a trick that sales guys used to do, and in a lot of the environments I'm in now, we'll bring that up, and they go, "Oh, we used to do that." I go,
"Was
it
stop?
Successful?" They go, "Oh yeah, unbelievable." I go, "Why did you stop?"
Don't want to be too successful now. Let's not overdo success.
Success
I say, don't be bashful about your success. Don't be. It's okay to go for it all. Run down the field, score a touchdown, get the ball back, score
and do
again.
it again.
And again and again and again.
So
there's something
you're
to be
right.
said about that. There's no rankings in sales. We have to worry about being number one or number two. You just want to be scoring as often as you can. Put as many points up the board as you can. And it's amazing. I mean, people are almost the fear of success.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't
scary.
think being in sales. So I get asked this a lot. I do a lot of podcasts. I put out a lot of my own content.
By the way, where's your podcast? Because I know I was on that, and I was trying to find it the other day to
Yeah,
give it.
it's Confessions of a Serial Salesman. We do it with ESPN.
That's good stuff, yeah.
In West Palm Beach. And what I do is
Confessions of a Serial Salesman. Okay.
Right, and so I've had entrepreneurs on like you who share their tricks of success, what they do to be successful. So it's real actionable and stuff like that. So it's, for me, that's the value that I provide is that I've done it and I'm doing it. So when I do these podcasts with other people, a lot of times they'll ask me, is it easier or harder to be in sales today? And instantly I tell them it's easier. The tools that are available to us as
one
sales
click and a pick.
Boom, click and a pick. Wow.
I mean, are you kidding me?
I mean, I can find out so much about you, where you went to school, what your charity passions are, what books you read. There are so many different ways for me to connect with you on a, one-to-one basis. So, a lot of times I people call up trying to talk about their product or their service or whatever. I just want to talk about, oh, you're a Knicks fan? So am I, man. That instant. Oh, you went to school here? The guy we met with this morning, phenomenal entrepreneur, doing some really cool stuff. He's connected with everybody from the University of Maryland. He's a Terp, and he has built a business just doing business with people from the University of Maryland. So I think what happens to sales professionals is they get so scattered about where the next opportunity is going to come from.
When it's right there in front of
It's
them.
right in front of them. Just stay focused. Do the things that you like. I mean, the best part about this is whatever my passion is, if I match that to your passion, we're going to have a great time, regardless of whether we do business. And then they're going to go, oh, by the way, you know what? What do you do again? Oh, you do that? Oh, you know what? Talk to my people. We'll change. We'll do business with you. It sells itself because
people do business with people they like.
Yeah, and it's that simple. And this social selling mentality that we're out talking to people about and trying to train them allows you to showcase what you're about. And listen, not
that should be on every
everybody's gonna like it.
salesperson's desk.
I totally
It
believe.
should be. People do business with people they like. Ask yourself, does your customer like you? If the answer is no, they're more likely not going to do business with you.
Oh, here's another one too. If every time you call either an existing customer or a prospect, if it's only about business, you do not have a good relationship with them. You're susceptible to having them go to somebody else who they actually like. And, how about calling or sending them a note about
How
their
you doing?
birthday or
Yeah.
what's up?
Harvey
And
McKay, the Harvey McKay 66. It's just
Simple.
find out the simple. What's your wife's name, birthday, anniversary, know when your kids
Hey,
are
I know
graduating.
you were going on that ski trip. How'd that ski trip go? What's happening in your life? Hey, I was just thinking about you this morning. I wanted to check in. Wow.
You know what the problem with this conversation is, by the way? The problem with the conversation is too easy.
It's too easy.
But it's
right?
not. But it's not simple.
It's not simple.
It's not. Everyone wants to look for that little formula, but it really is about doing the work, forming the relationships, asking the questions. You may not even need the answers. You just need the questions.
So I've been doing the same routine for 40 years.
40.
40.
40.
So ever since I was a kid.
That doesn't make you young, by the way.
I am not young.
40.
I am young at heart, young in mind.
Shit, 40 years, man.
Not bad for 57.
Looking good.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, feel good because I take care of the machine. It's important to feel good, act good. But so my routine hasn't changed. What I did in the book was just share the things I do. Listen, I'm susceptible to, down days, to slumps, just like everybody else. It's what are the things you're doing to get out of the slump? Every baseball player goes in a slump and says, I have no idea what's going on, but it ain't happening for me now. So for salespeople, sometimes, it's music, which we talk about, it's exercise, it's, food in some cases, that whatever it is, there's so much positive stuff on the internet now. I wake up in the morning, all you got to do is Google motivational video.
What's your favorite? Give me a couple faves.
So there's a Nike one called Rise and Shine that I use it a lot in my presentations.
And what's that like?
It is the words. If you listen to the words, it's about it's rise and grind.
Rise and grind. Okay, like that. Rise and grind.
Rise and grind.
Love that.
And it shows the graphics are about how athletes really the biggest enemy they have is the enemy within. And so it talks about all of that in a fun, upbeat music. And what I've done is I've actually printed the words. And without all of the sports metaphors, if you read it, it's every business person's life. One day I think I'm a zillionaire. I got this going. The next day I get a phone call that my biggest client left, and I'm broke. It's over. The sky is falling. So that's what it takes to. You need to build a system, a process to say. So I was boxing for a while. I really liked boxing because
you're gonna ring, boxing people, or boxing workout.
Training to box
in a ring, fighting somebody.
Actually, Michelle.
So there are some screws loose in
Michelle,
this. I mean, that's not really.
Michelle hits me
in your 50s doing that. Probably, yeah. That's not the
but
smartest.
What it taught me was.
But you were really boxing and punching people.
Oh, you have headgear on. But my trainer told me this. He said, "Listen, when you get hit, you go down. You have 10 seconds to get up." He goes, "How about that in sales? How many salespeople get kicked? They go down, and 2 months later, they're talking about, oh, if I only had that deal, and that would have happened, and I could have gotten my quota." So, in football, there's a new play every 40 seconds. So you can't be worried about what happened.
Gotta have a great lack of memory.
Boom.
Skill.
Right. It's one of the best.
That's what Mariano always says. Like, I have the worst memory in the world. Thank God.
Right. If he gives up a home run ball, and that's all he's thinking, he's going to give up more. So that. All of this stuff that's out there,
but a lot of salespeople will struggle with a couple bad calls in the morning, and they say I've had a bad day. I don't know. I mean, you can't let a couple, like I see it in basketball all the time. A couple misses at the beginning, and you see the guy just have a worse and worse day.
So what I would
great
do,
ones work themselves out of it.
And the way I would work out of it is I would call somebody like you or somebody that I respect and admire, and just have a dialogue with you. Brandon, hey, what are you up to today, man? I just need a little, you got 5 minutes. Could you go grab a cup of coffee? Can we do a virtual cup of coffee? But there are people who lift you up and inspire you.
Reset,
man. Wow, you come off that call.
Halftime. Maybe your day needs a halftime.
Right. I
mean, think about it. A football team is a halftime. Why wouldn't you have a halftime today?
You
Your
can call a
sales,
timeout
if you're doing
anytime.
well and you're having a great first 2 quarters, you're winning by 40 points, keep punching, keep doing it. Or you're losing by 40, maybe you got to make some adjustments. And
good stuff in. If you go with the flow when it's going, so momentum, one of the things in the video, it says momentum is a cruel mistress because momentum goes 2 ways. If you're going down, it's like, oh, Jesus, this is so bad. Versus when it's going good, people are like, oh, bring it on, man. I'm, so that whole Michael Jordan thing, I'm in the zone. Well, you're unconscious. That's easy.
Yeah.
Getting back in the zone is
Not
really
in
with
the
the
zone.
training.
It's funny. I saw Donovan Mitchell after a game in Utah. I was watching a Utah Jazz game in Utah.
Incredible, yeah.
I have a lot of issues. I'm in a lot of games. But so I see him, and this kid was lighting up. This was about 6 weeks ago.
He's special.
So now, he won the dunk contest. But I see him right outside the locker room. We're talking. He's a local kid. I didn't really know him.
I didn't know he's a local kid.
No, he's a local kid from up here. And I didn't know him. Played in Louisville. And I'm like, how you feeling? He goes, I feel great. He was lighting it up. And you could see the fun and the exuberance in his whole persona. So I said to him, do you remember what just happened? Like, did you take in what just happened? I said, would you be acting the same way if you were missing some of those shots? Would your behavior be the same, resilient? Would you have the same persona on the court if maybe you hadn't dropped in 25 with 10 assists and blah, blah, blah? I said, I need you to remember what happened tonight so that maybe if you miss a couple shots, you go back to this personality you just had and implement it immediately. And that's how you can stay consistent. And, you know, you have a kid with a rookie kid like that, you could see like why he was going to be a great one, because usually when I talk to kids like that, they're like, get this guy away from me. But he was listening.
But you offer value.
I was like, don't forget this moment.
Yeah.
It's not just because you did well. Remember this moment when you're struggling, and can you have this same kind of energy? And I think that tells me a lot about an employee, is when you are struggling, can you still bring the energy and fight through it? I love the halftime thing. But if I were to give it's someone on a sales, a pill, and said, I'd want that. I was just telling you this before, scrappy. Like, can you get scrappy? And I love Terry Sodine's book, Scrappy. And she talks about a woman who's in her 30s. And I love this story. This is exactly what I think also is a big part of sales, is can you figure it out? So this woman's in her 30s. She's nervous. She wants to get married. She wants to get her family going. Very successful in the work, right? Successful. She's got a good career going, but she wants to meet a guy. So she goes and gets a part-time job at Nordstrom's in the men's shoe department.
And meets her husband.
I mean, you can't meet more men than in the Nordstrom shoe department, right? I mean, what a great opportunity to meet a lot of men. And it's not a cheap shoe place, not necessarily the most expensive, but, you're going to meet a good, solid guy there probably, right? And sure enough, within 3 months, she meets her guy. A year later, she's married. Wow. Love that book, by the way. Terry Jodine, Scrappy is the name of it. But that's a lot about what sales is, too. It's like you hit a little bit of a roadblock. Can you work around that roadblock? Grease some of the skids, whether it be an assistant or somebody that knows that roadblock person that you're trying to get to. Can you work that angle? Any good examples for you how somebody can avoid? Let's say you're trying something that's just not working. How do you get around the roadblock?
You hit on something that is very significant. Reading and watching these videos and following people that inspire you. We were talking about Jocko Willenick.
Oh, I love Jocko. That book is unbelievable.
And he's very real.
Yeah.
So
Navy SEAL, by the way.
He talks about extreme ownership. One of the things I talk about with salespeople is radical responsibility. That means, you know what? It's raining outside. It's my fault, right? Taking control of everything in your life and saying,
or it's raining outside. Good. Now I get to stay inside. I'll work out longer. Oh, it's beautiful outside. Good. Then I'll go outside and I'll run outside. No matter what happens, it's good. Oh, the person dropped me. I no longer have them as an account. Good. I'll spend more time on the other accounts and make sure that those people don't leave me. No matter what happens, it's good. I love that guy.
The mentality of a guy like that, he says, listen, I've been successful in my life, and I'm going to give it back in podcasts, in writings, in speaking engagements, all that kind of stuff. And what you find, and I see you do it as well, successful people have something to offer to pay it back. And so it's all out there. You could pay attention to it. The internet is this fabulous, collection of great stuff that if you really want to pull yourself out, one of this is really funny. One of the slides I use in my presentation is with Popeye. When Popeye was in danger or didn't feel right, boom, he just hit the spinach. What's your spinach? What is it? Now, what's really funny is some of the audiences I do with millennials, they may not know who that guy is. So you're
going old school, man. I love that. But that is so true.
But it's really what it is, man. He was in danger. It didn't feel right. He had and so I think when people, actually visualize what is it that I'm going to do that's going to make me feel better, and they own it and they do it all the time because it's coming. You're going to hit a skid where your emotion is not right. You're not, you don't feel it in the morning, during the day, whenever it is. What is your go-to? What is your spinach? And once you do that, he was invincible.
Because at the end, it's not just one day. You think about a year, and all of a sudden you have 5 or 10 of those days, and now your career is 20 years, and all of a sudden you've wasted 2 months of your life on bad days that could have easily been converted if you had to go to, if you went to your spinach.
Yeah, there are people every day who have real bad days.
Yeah.
Really bad diagnosis, really bad things happening in their family.
Yeah.
So, some of it is perspective. It's not the end of the world yet. Poor me. But, living a life of gratitude, living a life of, understanding where you fit into the, I think for me, the training has offered a piece to my life that I didn't have before. The reward is not monetary in itself.
But Steve, you've written a book, Confessions of a Serial Salesman. You got a podcast, successful sales speaker, go to a lot of audiences and speak very successfully as I follow you. how do you become so stupid about being a Met and a Jet fan? I was like, I'm trying to. How does
I
that
knew you'd
happen?
throw that in
where
there.
does the imbalance of this kind of? You just lost your mind when it comes to being a fan. You couldn't find your way over to the Giants and Yankees, or
So, some of you, this
Or you
take
like
from,
the pain.
Well, you take from your parents. So
Okay.
my dad was a Met and a Jet
when in
fan.
doubt, blame your parents.
Always.
Good direction. I always tell my kids, just blame me for everything. You're gonna at some point on a couch somewhere at some point.
Now, certainly
I
as
like
a
that,
Jet
yeah.
fan, I could have bailed a zillion times and picked up
And it's
another
not
team.
too late, by the way.
It's nope. Kirk Cousins is going to be our guy. We're going to turn this thing around. So, but the milestones, the emotion of being a Met fan. My oldest son was born in 1986. So we
now,
brought him home.
you're gonna give the Mets props for your.
So we brought.
Were
him
you
home.
at the World
He's a
Series? Any of those
September
games,
10th.
or?
So September 10th is his birthday. So do the numbers, do the math. It was absolutely incredible. So I'm willing to take the good with the bad. I'm emotional about all of that. It's a release for me. I love the competition.
It's more like you take the bad with a little bit of the good. I mean, I just want to get the
You're having
record
fun,
straight.
aren't you? Right?
You got to
After
punish
walking
the
me
Met
through all
fans.
this Yankee material here.
We carry some Mets stuff too. We like the Mets. I mean, we like the Jets. We just love the Yankees, and we love some of the other teams in town.
Some of
But
the stuff you've done
yeah.
here, honestly, is so incredible, so innovative. No kidding. I mean, the fact that you give people access to what you've done, like people who are really passionate, that's why they call them fans.
Yeah.
You've taken it to another level where it's really three-dimensional. I can touch it, I can feel it. The bases that Derek
I
Jeter
love
has.
when people come through, because I don't think we ever stop learning, and I get some of my best ideas. You'll come through and you'll call me in a week and go,
Right.
I was thinking about this. And I go, nah, I was thinking about this. Like, wow, that's an unbelievable idea.
But you
So-
made adjustments in the business.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not the same business it was before. Your timeline, when you go down in the warehouse, is
Yeah.
really fascinating to see what you've done and how you've taken risks. And at
They
the
didn't
end
show
of
you the
day-
timeline of failures, though, did they?
No, it's-
But,
well,
but it's true. It is compromises and adjustments. And the failures I'm so grateful for, because they really lead to the bigger successes. We were talking about that, but it's true.
Some of the
you want to
biggest
succeed big, you're going to be failing big.
some of the biggest
Yeah.
wins for me when I've gotten in front of a group to make a pitch. I start to pitch out with some of our biggest failures, and people afterwards would say, nobody came in here and talked about the things that went wrong. They were all blowing smoke up their ass about how great they were. And I said, listen, we try really hard. We have emotion about everything we do. We put our name on it, but we're not perfect. We're not guaranteeing you success. We can guarantee you that we will work our butts off to make it right. Here's a couple of things that we thought would go right that didn't. There's no fault. They didn't go right. There was expectations on both sides. They didn't go right. And people are fascinated. They go, nobody's ever come in here and started off with something you failed at. And I go, what I want you to understand is how we think, who we are, what it will be like working with us. And so I think, everything is much more experiential. When it goes bad, how you deal with that is what really dictates the kind of company you have, the kind of people you have working
Kind of
for
marriage you have,
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
friendship you
took
have.
Me took me longer to learn that than others, but
It's true, though.
I got it right
Yeah.
now. I got a great lady who supports me, and we communicate, and so a lot of it is all about communication. But if you talk to successful people, they will point to the big failures, the
Yeah.
big risks that they took that were a miss, but they turned out to be something else. They learned something that pointed them in another direction. And look at Zuckerberg. It sort of started out as something that morphed to something else.
Playful, fun.
Yeah, so it's the world is fascinating.
Hey, Ben, any quick questions, or we want to run through anything up there, Jake? We got Jake visiting us today from. Nice, you just stopped by, Jake.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We have one question from Brandon. He wants to know, in this day and age, in the digital age, what can you do to get a leg up?
So again, just like in life, there is no silver. There's not one solution to doing it. Consistency and authenticity. So being really genuine to who you are, how you show up in the world, and then use the digital platforms as your way to broadcast it. So we're going out to a lot of people today. I could say anything I want in the interview. They can then go to my social media channels and go, this guy was either full of shit or he was dead on genuine. And that's what people are buying now. They don't want that.
They
that
want real.
fakeness.
They want real. They got enough. They got
Working with
enough.
a group up in Albany, and shout out to Team Bennett and all the guys at Worldwide Express.
What
But
do they do?
They are in the shipping business, and they will be your new shipping provider. So
Nice. Ship all over the world?
Ship all over the world. Yeah, they're great. Their
Cool.
customer service is fantastic and everything they do. But I went to dinner with the CEO prior to speaking to his group in December, and we had this great conversation. He's a big sports fan. So I said, hey, maybe someday I can introduce you to Brandon Steiner. And then we went on and talked
And he
about
said, who's Brandon Steiner?
No, not at all. Not at all. And so but I realized, so the night was a really fun night.
Great.
I got in the Uber on the way home, and I said to myself, wow, I dropped a lot of names in this conversation. So this guy probably thinks I'm a name dropper. He thinks I'm full of shit. So you know what? I put it in my brain. I start working with their salespeople the next day, and the CEO was right there. And I said to him, before we get started, I'm gonna give you a vulnerable moment. I had dinner with your CEO last night. I had a great time, but I thought to myself, I dropped a lot of names. And he stood up and goes, the minute we left dinner, I get in my car and went to LinkedIn to say, man, this guy dropped a lot of names. I want to see if it's real. So we have that tool now to verify, validate.
So if you're going to say something, make sure it's true.
Because in the old
and
days,
make sure
you
you
could
can
say
deliver it. Yeah.
And nobody could validate it. And so, this is your sort of your Yelp for salespeople. You never go to a restaurant now until you check it out and see what your peers are saying. That's what social media has turned out to be for salespeople.
People are
is
going
a
to
place
check you out.
Check you out. And I want them to check me
Yeah.
out. I want them to see people that said good things about me and people said bad things about me, because here's the real life story. So,
Jake, got anything else?
We have James asking, in sales, is it more important to consider convenience, or is it more important to worry about the product?
Is it convenience? So I'll answer that by saying product, price, and service don't matter. You matter. So I believe the sale happens in the first 3 seconds. If they don't like you, the conversation's over. So, they can buy everything in the world now is commoditized. So the game is, do we connect on an emotional level? And if we do, great, we'll continue. If we don't, that's okay. I'm going to move on to people that I do connect with. And that's sort of where I think the world has changed, because the product, service, or price will change. They'll be more inclined to buy from you.
But to add to that, price, quality, service, you can never do all three.
Correct.
The only company I've seen come close is maybe Amazon, but I'm still questioning whether the service part of that's there. But price, quality, service, as a salesperson, you have to pick two. You can't get all three. It's almost virtually impossible.
You can't be the best and be
At
the
all
cheapest
three,
at the
right,
same time.
right.
So those are
You got to
those are
decide,
good,
and I think it's important to decide who you are and what your priorities are, what you're really offering, and be authentic about it, so that someone's not expecting the discount when they're asking for the highest quality of product and some really good service to boot. It's unrealistic, and you just be bullshitting your customer. At some point, something's going to give, and they'll be disappointed you lose the customer.
in everything. I mean, you travel around to speak. People have a budget or don't have a budget. You can't speak for everybody.
Yeah.
You sort of got to pick where you fit in the hierarchy and say, here's what my brand is. It's a premium brand. We're going to charge more, but you're going to get more, or we're going to be.
I always say, if your brand was a hotel, what hotel would it be?
Oh my God, that's
my favorite. Yeah. What hotel would your brand be?
That's incredible.
And I think it's a fair assessment. There's nothing wrong with the Days Inn, Red Roof Inn,
For some people.
Four Seasons. Everybody brings different things, and obviously price and service are all involved. And I think it's important, if you're out there selling, think about what brand you would be. We got time for one more. Ben, how are we doing on time? All right?
About 45 minutes.
All right. We have.
Wow.
I told you I'm not responsible for the length of this. We're doing a quick contest at the end of this, so if you're thinking of leaving, don't leave so fast. Besides, it's the best sales information you're getting in a while. You know it. You know you're going to be sharing this with all your other sales friends and people that are selling. It's worth it. We love selling.
45 minutes? That's
We
insane,
love
man.
selling. We want you to sell more. We want you to do more. So hopefully this is helping.
There was a follow-up to the original question about lead generation in the digital age. What's your feelings on the best way to find leads? Obviously, it depends on what you're selling, but for you, your opinions on
Jake, did we post that Facebook post yet? No, the one we did on Facebook. Don't think Facebook is just for social measures alone.
Yeah, we posted that this morning on your blog.
Yeah, that's a good one for you to read, by the way. I ever asked that question because we wrote a whole thing about Facebook.
Correct.
And it's not what it's cracked up to be, but it could be lead generation if you want to pay. It's a pay to play. So lead generation as well Customer acquisition is not cheap, which is why you need to respect the hell out of the customers you have and not lose them, and doing a lot of things you were talking about earlier. What's your take on that?
I would say that that's a specialized skill set that it's surgery. When you want someone that knows what they're doing, you should go find a specialist, have them understand your business, and just like you pick anybody in your life that's going to provide a very important service, understanding the digital landscape and understanding how to use the tools that are out. So digital is not social. You know, we can do social on ourselves. Digital client acquisition is a whole nother terrain. And if you don't understand the terrain, you're going to get hurt. So, you know, I think there are plenty of people who are building these funnels and doing things to bring customer acquisition there. You need to really understand it, understand what your goals are. I think you need to, even more importantly, before you get started, understand what your message is. You know, because I don't think, you know, I ask a lot of people, what do you do for a living? And they'll go, I'm in the mortgage business. Well, there's like 9 million people that are selling mortgages. What's your point of differentiation? Because if you are going to communicate to a large audience what you do, it better be different. It better be something that people pay attention to, regardless of where they're seeing it or how they're seeing it, and then bring you through. And you got to deliver value.
I don't need to say more. Love this guy.
Thank you.
By the way, don't buy this book and read it. Buy this book and study it. 2 things. Okay. Washington, Stanford, if you're a sports fan. Great game tonight. Big game. A big dictation of who's going to go in the Pac-12. Okay, if I'm moving a little too fast, but up a little late, stay up a little late, going to be a phenomenal game tonight. Washington, Stanford. Okay? Are you with me? More importantly, you'll see me. I'll be at Duke on Saturday, Duke, Syracuse. Watch for the upset.
Wow.
If you predict the score of that game, you'll win a chance to either win a Coach K or a Boeheim autographed item. Tell me the score of the Duke-Syracuse game. You know I'm a Syracuse guy, so easy on me. But I feel that's going to be the upset of the weekend. So Saturday night, if you're not too busy, around 6:15, that's when Syracuse-Duke. You can get that game in and still go out with your wife and have a nice dinner. Big game on Saturday. Big basketball weekend as we merge into NCAA. Have a great weekend with college basketball starting to kind of filter who's the winners, who are the believers, who are the fakers, who are the takers, who's going to the tourney. I love basketball. You know I'm a basketball junkie. Give me the score of the Syracuse-Duke game. Stanford, Washington tonight's going to be one of those games you want to watch. It's going to dictate a lot of what's going to happen in that division. You know, I'm a big Hopkins fan. Coach Hop coaches Washington. Good luck to Coach Hop tonight. If you're not a Washington fan, you watch this team, you will be tonight after that game. Steve, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
I really enjoyed it.
If I want to follow you, you're a LinkedIn guy or Facebook guy or?
I'm across all the channels, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. It's Nudelberg.com is my website. All the information. I got plenty of content that I put out there. A lot of the things that I think about and want to share are on there. So
cool.
I'm very active on LinkedIn. I think as a business person,
you
there's
have
500 million
LinkedIn's
people.
a new phone call.
You got to go there.
You got to go there.
Call. Wow, look at you.
I mean, right? I mean, if you're not on LinkedIn, you know, you probably, you know, you may, there's jobs at the post office. Nothing wrong with that. There's sanitational engineers. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
but
that.
if you're not on LinkedIn, you're not in it to win it.